Alright, what's up everyone? And in this video I'm going to explain to you why I left martial arts. So why did I leave? I began studying Wing Chun, um, just learning about it, traditional Wing Chun. Um, I learned the techniques, I learned the philosophy behind it, I learned the principles, I learned a whole bunch of stuff. And I was always a big martial arts fan as a kid. Um, I got into karate, um, things of that sort. My brother was into karate. He was a yellow belt, and I couldn't afford to take classes. My parents couldn't afford it, so I begged him to teach me, and he did. He taught me some techniques. Um, I practiced them and whatnot. So I have kind of a martial arts background. Um, and when I got older, I wanted to learn a self-defense system, so I picked up Wing Chun, and um, um, I learned basically almost everything I could about it. And then I decided to spar with untrained people because I was a rebel. I did not think that you could effectively practice self-defense with people of the same school. You had to spar with different people and test things out, and that's exactly what I did. So, um, and the way I did things, I didn't do any rules. As a kid, never did any rules. Um, you know, we, me and my sparring partners, did whatever. Striking, kicking, grappling, trapping, weapons, multiple attackers, anything. There was no structure to it, and that's how we did it. Um, so I sparred with my brother, got him in a Wing Chun stance. Um, he threw a bunch of punches. I parried, hit him in the face. There was no contact. Um, and he was surprised, but then he figured me out. So next time I did it, grabbed my hand with a fake, he threw a fake slap, grabbed my hand, pulled me towards him. I was out of my stance, grabbed my hands, grabbed my arms so to keep me from hitting, and I lost. So, um, so I got frustrated a little bit. Um, I knew that since I was a beginner, maybe I'm being too hard on myself, but no. As I did more research, I found the flaws of Wing Chun. Um, I found that it had a rigid stance. Um, you know, and no knockout power. So that I didn't like that. Um, I tried to figure out why that was, and I really couldn't get a straight answer. So also, I sparred with other people, and the same thing happened a little bit. Um, I tried to, somebody was throwing straight punches and uppercuts and things of that sort, and I would just try to pivot, um, and parry, redirect the blows, and I got knocked off balance a little bit, but I still parry the blows. Um, and then some people would try to hit me in other directions, different angles of the ribs. So even if I parried one attack and countered, I would still get hit with another one. So, yeah, I mean, I saw all those flaws. I didn't like the lack of knockout power. I did not like the rigid stance. I did not like the fact that you could only um, deal with straight line attacks. I did not like the lack of grappling. I just didn't like it. Um, so I decided to pretty much figure out how to how to um how to supplement it with other techniques and footwork and things of that sort. And I tried to look at what Wing Chun people were saying, and I got a lot of mixed, unsatisfactory answers. They said, some people said, "Oh no, you can't do that." Um, it's not Wing Chun. Or some people said, "What do you mean Wing Chun has the long range?" And then they do like an application or something like that, a demo, but they never actually sparred and demonstrated it. Um, so that's what led me to just ditch all styles. Um, so I'm just gonna break down the reasons um, why I left. And the first reason is um, because of the unrealistic training methods. Um, and I'm specifically talking about traditional martial arts. Um, you know, despite I've looked at various martial arts, and I noticed a common pattern that they have is they basically start out by doing a drill where they, um, one guy is throwing one punch of the same style, straight punch, whatever it is, and another guy is defending, blocking, parrying, whatever, counterattacking, same style. They might do it in slow mo, they might do it in fast mo. Guy is completely compliant, and the guy, instructor, whatever, demonstrates his techniques. Um, that's pretty much it's scripted, and that's not real life. Real life, you don't know how your attacker is going to attack. He or she might do something that you expect, or do something completely different than what you expect. Um, you know, and most attackers don't attack the way you see in martial arts. They don't understand distance. They don't understand techniques. None of the things that trained fighters do. They don't get. They just go in, swing randomly, hoping to hit you if they're unarmed. It varies from person to person. So to think that you're gonna do your flashy moves or your flashy kung fu or whatever the heck, it's not realistic. Um, look at all the violent cases. Look at real life violent crimes, and you'll see what I mean. Not these fights, not not none of that. Look at real life attacks, real life violent crimes, and you'll see the big difference. Um, so yeah, I just didn't like it. Um, and just the lack of emotion, um, just you could tell it's completely choreographed. Um, you know, it's different because when you're in the streets, somebody could you just don't know how violent your attacker is, and if your attacker is aggressive, very aggressive, you're probably not going to be able to psychologically handle it. And eventually you might get hit. So you just don't know who you're dealing with. Like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face. And yeah, um, next point is um, no weapons. I think MMA, combat sports, has a more effective way of dealing with fighters, people like that, because it's more realistic. It's you train in a kind of sports type of environment. You train with resisting attackers, blah blah blah. Train with resisting fighters. I like their approach more. Um, I was pretty impressed by how boxers taught things. Boxing coaches, because it was practical. Um, so yeah, I liked it. Um, I even agree with some of their training methods because it's so different than traditional martial arts. But still, I did not like the I did not like the lack of weapons. You can't claim to be an effective. You can't claim to practice effective self-defense if you don't address weapons like firearms, knives, bats, all that. And unfortunately, that's just what seems to be happening. Is they seem many self-defense instructors or whatnot, many martial arts claim to teach self-defense, but they completely ignore firearms. They pretend that they don't exist. Same with knives. Or worse, they teach these flashy disarming techniques that that clearly don't work. I mean, try it out on a resisting person, and you'll see what I mean. People, the reason why they work in schools is because people just stand there and comply. Why? Because they don't want to make the instructor look bad. They don't want anyone to look bad. That's why they do it. Um, they want to follow the rules and whatnot. That's why they do it. But that's not how real life works. Your attacker is going to try everything he or she can to avoid getting the weapon taken away. Um, and they don't want to admit it. They they engage in wishful thinking. Oh, hopefully that never happens. Um, yeah, blah blah blah, things of that sort. Oh, no martial art can deal with weapons, therefore I'm right. Um, the only smart people are the ones who say, you know what, I agree with you. You know, martial arts doesn't deal with weapons. That's why you should have weapons training. And yeah, I mean, that's what I do, martial arts. But I'll get into that later. Okay. Um, Next is the sports mentality, and I just hate it. Like, I don't care about titles. I don't care about belts. I don't care about awards. I don't care about none of that stuff that sports teach. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a sports fan. You know, I watch sports here and there, here and there. But when, in my self defense training, I'm just not interested in it. I'm not interested in learning a sport. I'm interested in survival, and that's it. Um, because on the streets, there's no rules. You know, you do whatever it takes to survive. You really think your attacker is going to attack you fairly? You really think that you're going to survive um, playing fair? Like um, sports teaches you to not eye gouge, not do this, not do that, not hit below the belt, not hit the groin. You can't hit here, you can't hit there, blah blah blah. And I don't like that. I think that it sets people up to get hurt because those are the things that's going to save you. That's going to save your life. I think it creates a wrong mindset. It creates the mindset that self-defense is fighting um, when it's not. I think that um, trying to follow the rules where they don't apply in the streets is going to get you beaten or it's going to get you killed. Plain and simple. Because if you have no weapons, no multiple attacker defense, no, you just don't, the rules don't apply. There's in combat sports, you have precautions, you have safety procedures, you have people who check to make sure no one's cheating. You have mats, you have gloves, you have pads, you have all that. On the streets, none of that exists. You know, you don't know who you're dealing with. Like, you don't know if you're dealing with a gang. You don't know if you're dealing with a cartel. You don't know if you're dealing with somebody who got out of prison. You don't know if you're dealing with an assassin, a trained assassin. Um, there's all these different factors that you have to keep in mind. How is sports going to deal with that? It's not. And that's why I train with no rules, because on the streets there's no rules. Um, Now you could argue, and people have argued, oh well, you have to follow the rules because Legally, you could get charged with murder, attempted murder from eye gouging, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, you can use lethal force if if you're justified in doing so, and in some cases you are justified. In some cases. Secondly, law only applies if it's enforced. There are some countries out there where the police, the government, they don't care. They don't care what goes on. They don't care what happens to you. And that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. The government is not always going to protect you. You know, the government is corrupt. And the last thing that I don't like, I just don't like how sports promote this mentality that the world is fair when it's not. Life's not fair. And I think it's doing a disservice because it just promotes that mentality. Um, you know, who asks to be attacked? Who asks to get raped? Who asks to get shot and killed? Nobody. You know? Um, Other thing I don't like, the lack of individuality. Um, Now, it's not me hating on martial arts or anything, but I think that I like martial arts. Let's not kid around here. I like martial arts. But I do see how each style has its strengths and weaknesses. Um, but I just don't like how it's so divided. You can't be yourself. You know, like, um, I think that cross training is important. I think that you should have striking, you should have grappling, trapping, kicking, weapons, you know, etc., to have a complete system. And I feel like you should be able to do whatever you want to do. That's why, you know, when people ask me what's your style, the answer is I don't really have a style. My style is basically doing whatever is most effective for self-defense. That's it. I don't care. I just don't care if it's Wing Chun. I don't care if it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whatever the heck. As long as it works, it's good enough for me. And that's pretty much the philosophy I have now. Is pretty much do whatever works for you. But my issue with most martial arts is the fact that it's so it's like a religion. Everybody has his or own clique. Everybody has his or own sect. You know, his or own style, and each style has its rules, limits, whatever. And I just don't like it. Um, like, first of all, everybody just listens to his or her own instructor. And I'm like, why? You know, why are we doing this? Why are we practicing these techniques? Like, why do we have to do it like this? And then people will be like, oh, it's because the master says. Oh, it's because my Sifu says. And it's like, how do you know your Sifu's not lying to you? How do you know if he's actually telling you the truth, or she? How do you know if he or she is trying to get you killed? What if your teacher told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? I just I think that that mentality is gonna get people hurt because that's just how that's sheep mentality. Um, you know, lineages when you really come down to it, they don't really mean anything on the streets. Your attacker doesn't care about who trained you. You know, you're still gonna get attacked. Um, that's why I don't care about lineages. You know, and I encourage people to question me. If you don't agree with something, tell me. You know, you don't agree with you know what I teach or whatnot, then we can spar. Um, you know, we can test it out. I've tested my stuff out um, with people before, um, and I found out it worked. So if I'm wrong, I'll admit it, because that's how you grow. And the thing about martial arts is that there's just no growth. You know, like in boxing, let's say I want to be a boxer, but I want to do a finger jab. People will be like, "Oh no, you can't do that," and I'm like, "Why not?" And they'll be like, "Oh well, it's because it's boxing. You know, it's illegal." And I'm like, "Well, why can't I do it? You know, why do we have to follow these rules?" And I'd be like, "Oh well, that's just how it is. You know, if you don't want to learn boxing, go to another school." And then I go to like Wing Chun, and it'll be the same thing. What if I want to throw a boxing hook? Oh no, you can't do that. You know, that's not Wing Chun. If you want to learn something, you want to learn something else, go to another school. Um, let's say I go to a Taekwondo school. Oh, you can't hit below the belt. You can't hit in the groin. You can't grapple and whatnot. And it's like, but why not? You know, who says? You know, oh well, that's tradition and whatnot. That's just how the style is. And it's like, well, what if I want to do my own thing? And that's just the point. You know, you can't be yourself. That's what I don't like about it. I want to do my own thing. I want to have no rules. I want to do whatever works for me. Um, you know, I don't care about all this stuff. You got to do it this way. You can't do it that way. I don't care. You know, um, because I want to have new ideas. I want to um, have diversity. You know, everybody's divided. That's why. That's why I just can't vibe with it. I can't join any school because I have no freedom, no individuality. Everybody does the same stuff, and it's just not me. You know. Um, you know, what if I want to create something new? What if I want to add something to something? What if I want to make something better? Oh no, you can't do that. Why not? Oh, it's because of the style. And I'm like, who cares? You know, I don't care about styles. You know, it's like, how are we gonna expect martial arts to evolve if we keep clinging to traditions, if we keep clinging to this, presenting things as if they are the gospel truth, and that's that. That's all there is to it. Can't. Um, I feel like I said in my other video, to me, that's not art. Art is you expressing whatever you feel is right. Art is expressing your body the way you want it to. Um, that's art to me. And unfortunately, people have forgotten the meaning of art. Um, and it's sad, really, because anytime somebody wants to create something new, they automatically get shut down for it. You can't have any individuality. You can't do what you want. Blah blah blah. You know. Um, and that brings me, to my next point. I don't like the community. I mean, I've met some good martial artists here and there. Maybe I'm just thinking about the internet, but um, as far as I know, most martial artists on the internet are just toxic. They got these egos, they got these quarrels, they got these beefs and whatnot, and I just don't. It's so negative. I don't like negativity. Um, I tend to stay away from that. Um, but the thing that bothers me is how they got these unrealistic expectations, these views. We got all these weeboos, all these anime fans. We got people who see things in black or white. They look at the UFC, look at their favorite combat sports, and that's how they see the world. They don't see things realistically. They want to engage in this little fantasy where they think that one technique is going to save them, and it's not. They think that somehow a stranger in the bushes is going to come out and attack them, and they're going to do their flashy martial arts techniques and blah blah blah, and it's going to end. It's going to solve all their problems, and I have a problem with that because it's not real life. You know, they think that that it's the movies. They have that perception that um like they watch a movie or whatnot, and they think that that's how real life is. Like um they're gonna run if they're ever chased by multiple attackers. They're gonna run faster than their attackers. Um, if somebody pulls out a knife, you see in the movies, people they back up, and knife man's gonna play around with a knife, and he's not gonna attack. He's just gonna lunge in, you know, like it's a movie knife fight. That's not real life. Or they're gonna challenge each other. They're gonna challenge people of different styles, and somebody's gonna be the ultimate street fighter. Um, you know, and beat everybody up and stuff like that, and that's just not real life. That's not real life self-defense. um but unfortunately, we got people, worse people, who try to sell you these 1, 2, 3 step techniques that are obviously choreographed, and they try to sell it to you as legit self-defense. It's not legit self-defense. They're just acting. Most people in the self-defense community and martial arts are just actors. They're stuntmen, you know. Um, Very few self-defense instructors are legit in my eyes because you know everybody's trying to. It seems like most people in the self-defense community are just trying to make a quick buck. They're trying to stroke your ego into thinking that you can be this ultimate fighting machine and like Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan and try to sell you this idea that you can take on anybody with this style and that black belts mean something and all this crap. Um, and it's not realistic, you know. Um, they'll put these military commando type of pants, try to present themselves as military or police personnel. Oh, I train with the military. Oh, I train with the police. Blah, blah. Look. I have 30 years of experience and blah 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 blah. And it's like it's obvious it's a scam. They're not telling you the whole truth. So sorry I got interrupted there, but yeah, um, that's my issue with it. Um, they stroke your ego and they tell you what you want to hear. Oh, you're big, you're strong, you can take on anybody. Um, and the reality is you can't. There's always somebody better than you. There's always somebody um, who who will do whatever he or she takes to hurt you, to rape you, to kill you, whatever. Um, you make one mistake and you're dead in some cases. Um, and that's just it. You know, they don't look at the facts. They don't study violent crimes. They don't learn about how weapons work. They don't learn about how real life attacks work. They don't train for that. Most most don't. Um, and that's just the reality. The reality of violence is that you don't know what's going to happen, and that's what these schools are not telling you. You don't know how you're going to be attacked. You don't know why. Um, Nobody knows, and um, that's why having non-combative skills is important. That's why having situational awareness is important. That's why doing whatever you can to avoid a violent confrontation is important. It's not about fighting. It's not about competition. It's not about combat. It's about doing whatever it takes to avoid getting into a violent confrontation. That's all that matters. Everything else is a last resort. So, um, um, I don't like how martial artists check you. Like they'll always be like, "Oh, what lineage are you from? You can't do this, you can't do that, blah blah blah. And I really think that they're just insecure. They can't do what you do. When they tell you you can't create this, you can't create that, they're just jealous of you. They're jealous that you're creative and they're not. They're jealous that you're intelligent and they're not. They want to be you. They want to be independent. They want to be um, themselves. They want to stand out, but they're scared because they value what other people think about them. You know, they don't want to step outside of their comfort zones and try something they haven't tried before. Um, they want to make things up. Whatever makes them feel comfortable, they'll vibe with it. And I'm not about that. You know, um, I don't like the bullying. I don't like the sexism. I don't like the racism. I don't like the arrogance. I don't like many of the things martial artists claim that they're against, but uh, they're really they're really for it. Um, it's just hypocritical to say that you promote love, peace, and harmony because of your art's philosophy, but practice the complete opposite. You know, um, I'm not claiming to be a saint either because I'm not perfect either. But I just don't like the dishonesty. You know, um, so yeah, I mean, I'm honest about who I am, um, what I do, things of that sort. Um, if I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. You know, so that's what I do differently. That's how my school operates. Anybody can join. It doesn't matter if you're untrained. It doesn't matter if you're trained. Whatever style, doesn't matter. Join. Do your own thing. Um, make sure it works, and that's it. No judgment, no criticism, nothing like that. I'm not going to shove my style down your throat. I'm not going to teach you things. I'm not going to make you go through things that you don't want to. I'm not going to make you conform. You can be yourself. You can have the freedom to do what you want as long as it works. Um, all I do is provide you with the tools and other things that are necessary for it, and all you do is test it out, see if it works. That's it. Simple as that. I'm not here to teach you styles. I'm not here to teach you, um, Wing Chun or none of this. Like, um, you know, I'm just here to teach you what works, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. What works for you might not work for me. That's why I don't teach techniques. That's why I don't teach, um, training methods. nothing, nothing of that sort. Like I don't like teaching it. I don't like putting up videos of how to do this, how to do that, like so many people do, because um, not everyone can do it. You know, maybe for someone it works differently. Maybe for another person it works differently. Who knows? Um, but nevertheless, if you want to learn techniques, if you want to learn um, how to guides, then I'll teach it to you. If if you take one of my self defense lessons, I'll teach it to you. But keep in mind that it's not it's not set in stone. It's not uh, the end all be all of self defense. It's just a tool. That's all it is. It's just a tool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, so that's pretty much why I left and why I started my own thing. Um, I don't claim to teach styles. I don't claim to teach uh, such and such thing. I don't care about belts. I don't care about uniforms. I don't care about none of that stuff. I just don't care. Um, I like to keep things simple and practical, and that's just it. Um, so if you're interested in taking self defense lessons, um, then check out my Fiverr link below. It'll be in the description. You know, check it out, and the costs are affordable. I don't charge a monthly fee like a lot of schools do. I don't I like to keep things affordable. It's per lesson, so and a free lesson if you request it. So check out my Fiverr gig link below, and subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you later.